All right, everyone. We are back in your lives. It's Inside Boxing Live. It's Dan Canobio. It's Chris Algieri, and we're presented by ppv.com. I am coming to you from a brand new studio. It looks exactly the same as everything you've seen in the last couple of years from us, but I'm in a new apartment. I moved out of the city. No one cares, but I do. And I'm in a new studio, so it might sound a little echoey. I'm going to build some stuff. Chris is coming to us from an undisclosed location on the road for Pro Box. No, I guess you could tell us where you are. You're in D.C. for Pro Box. Chris is in D.C. for Pro Box. I am on Long Island. I fled the city, and I made sure I moved before Canelo-Crawford so I can be settled in. That's how dedicated I am. Hello, everyone. Hello, Chris. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm happy about your move. You're growing up. You're moving out to Long Island. You're not doing the city thing anymore, the Queens thing. So moving on up in the world. Next move is going to be down to Florida. That's just to keep in mind. That's your next.
Well,
move.
that's what people thought. I moved to Florida.
I mean, Florida's the place to be, bro. I was early on that.
I posted a few pics. I posted a few pics on Instagram, and I didn't tag where I was, and people were like assumed that I moved to Florida because it was really sunny and nice. It looks like a resort where I live now, and they were like, "Oh, you moved to Florida with Algieri?" I was like, "No, I'm not telling you where I live, but it's not Florida."
When we make the Inside Boxing Live studios, that's got to be in Florida. We'll get bigger space, money goes a little further, less regulations. That's
tax breaks.
Yeah.
So yes, a lot of stuff coming your way. We'll have a voicemail episode on Monday. Canelo-Crawford, please send us your voicemails right now. Yeah, specifically on your picks for Canelo-Crawford and why. Going through a lot of the voicemails this morning. A lot of Canelo picks. I need some more Crawford picks. Who's willing to put their name and voice out there? 631-403-0859. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. We love the voicemails. Getting a lot of Canelo picks, a lot of chalk. Canelo is the favorite, but not a big favorite. Whereas we're a week away from the fight of the century, which Ring Magazine will tell you it is. We're not going to talk too much Crawford. We're going to go deep next week. Just curious, your excitement level, because I've been asking you for the last couple of months. Where is it at?
It's not at its peak. It's not at its lowest, but it's somewhere there. I thought I'd be a little more excited about this, but I'm not. I'm not that excited, and I'm surprised to hear that we've gotten so many voicemails backing Canelo, because the people that I speak to, but I guess I'm in the Northeast right now, and I'm in gyms, and I'm getting all Crawford. I'm getting all Crawford for everybody that's around me. Yeah. So, but also I'm around some younger guys who are kind of newish to the sport at the moment. It's not old heads in the game, so I'm getting a lot of Crawford, but I'm glad to see that we're so split everywhere. I think that's good for boxing.
Chris?
I'm not as excited as I thought I would be.
Give me a number out of 10.
In terms of what? Excitement level? 7.
Wow. That's kind of low.
Yeah, it's pretty low. I'm not super enthused. I'm really not. I expect it to be. I mean, at one point it was a 2, so we're doing better than that.
We're trending up. It's funny in terms of the predictions, like Canelo first, everything. Oh, he's going to wash him. When this fight was first announced, when this fight was even, talked about a year ago, and then Skull happens, and then it went hard to the Crawford, the sexy pick. Yeah. Now I feel like it's swinging back as we get closer, and people are starting to lay their bets. People are starting to lay down their pride, their picks, putting their boxing acumen on the line, and now everyone's like going, "All right, Canelo's going to win. Canelo's going to win by decision. Come on, take it to the bank." So we'll see on fight night. Also, we are in the early stages of putting together a potential live stream watch party in New York City. I made some phone calls this morning. It's looking pretty good. Going to hammer that out, and then we will send out an announcement. We're not going to be at the fight. We don't have enough time to explain why we're not going to be at this fight, but we're not going to be at the fight, okay? And usually me and Chris are at every big fight, but not this one. We will be throwing a party of some sort, and I will be announcing. We will be announcing it soon. Lastly, on Canelo-Crawford, the Netflix documentary, it's on 24/7. It's Countdown, produced by Nick Manning, who is a big-time listener of the show. He formerly was with Showtime, did All Access. Watched it last night, episode 1, really good. Really good. One of the stronger ones.
I didn't even know there was a doc. So I gotta get on that. I've been on the
it's a 2-part. I watched the first part. I'm gonna watch the second part today. Really good. A lot of good, cool Canelo stuff. A lot of cool Crawford stuff. A lot of old footage of them as teenagers stepping into the ring. It got me fired up. It might increase your excitement level to a 7.5.
7.5. That's good numbers because if I'm not any more excited now, it's going to trend down. It's going to be a 6.5 sooner than later. So hopefully that documentary can pump those numbers up.
Pump them up as rookie numbers. I'm going to get your excitement level through the roof right now because announced last night on social media out of absolutely nowhere, Mike Tyson will be quote unquote fighting Floyd Mayweather in an exhibition sometime in 2026 on some promotion called Fight Sports. It took over the internet last night, right in the middle of the first NFL football game, which wasn't probably the best time to announce this. What is going on? What are we doing? Not surprised. I feel like the shock value has worn off on these exhibitions where maybe a couple of years ago we'd look at this and this would be huge news. It's still news, but I'm not I barely even blinked. I was like, yeah, I guess this makes sense. It's an exhibition, money. I don't even know, Chris. What did you think when you saw it?
Not surprised. Similar take that you had, but I had so many people reaching out that are like, "Oh my God, is this really happening?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, do you really care? Does anyone really care? It's a sideshow. It's a circus." You know what I did see though, and I wish someone would do something like this. I was scrolling the gram on my flight, and George Foreman fought 5 guys in one day after the Ali loss. I'm like, let's do shit like that. That is cool. Exhibitions are lame. Exhibitions are super lame when you're fighting super old men. How about you fight 5 guys in one night? That's cool because it's still dangerous. It's still hard. It's get paid well, whatever. I think people would tune into that. Let's get Deontay Wilder fight 5 guys in a row.
I think Teofimo Lopez said he'd do that. He does these. Aiden Ross is one of the most popular streamers out there. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, I do know him. Yeah, know of him.
He runs a little promotion now called Brand Risk, and they put on fight nights. They're all streamers and that stuff. But Teofimo is a commentator, and it's pretty smart on Teofimo's part because he's just increasing his reach and his popularity. I think it's one of the smarter things he's done. He's done a lot of dumb things in the last couple of years, but he said he would fight 5 YouTubers in one night.
That's a brilliant idea. Sign me up for that. Idea.
Right.
Sign me up for that. I'd rather than seeing 2 ancient guys, fight each other that don't belong anywhere near rings at this point, or fighting guys that are 70 pounds less than you. That I don't know. The exhibition thing is as worn. It's welcome. I'm into this kind of thing. Fight a bunch of guys in one night. Do some crazy stuff like that.
Well, I feel like sports are copycats. Copycat league. Boxing's like a copycat. It's a lot of trends in boxing. And the trend right now is these exhibitions. And I can't tell if we're at the end of the bubble. I can't tell if we're entering the bubble. I can't tell if the bubble's about to burst after this. Is this the last one that we're potentially going to see? Is Mike Tyson going to keep on fighting old legends? Is Mayweather going to keep on doing exhibitions? We're getting Tank Davis versus Jake Paul, and that's something new because this represents a guy that's in the prime of his career in Tank, a active champion. It kind of bucks the trend of what we've seen when it comes to exhibitions. Key word is exhibitions. These fights don't mean anything. They are entertainment, and I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here. It's just the way the sport is set up, Chris. It's the logistics of it. There's a stage, which is the ring. There's a star A and there's a star B. In this case, it's Floyd Mayweather and it's Mike Tyson, 2 of the most recognizable faces in the world. What other sport, what other venue, what other stage can you set where you can cash in one night? Maybe a concert where you're on a stage, which is a form of entertainment. This is a form of entertainment. It's not preventing big fights from happening. You don't have to watch. I think the reaction to it says everything because I saw a lot of people just what? I'm not watching this. I'm done. And I think that Tyson Paul had a big reason for that. I think people that were just kind of done with it. But it's just how this is being put together it's just entertainment. And this is another example of it with 2 big names.
Yeah, no, it is entertainment, and fighting is entertainment, but it is still a competition. And even though they're exhibitions, there's no quote unquote winner. You got guys who are going to be trying to look better than the other guy, trying to quote unquote win. But yeah, I think exactly what you said about, I think after the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight, I remember leaving, I was watching at the Pro Box Studios. I remember leaving and feeling like deep sadness after I watched that. I was like, that was not enjoyable. I didn't feel good after that. Where actually when Mike fought Roy and they did that exhibition a bunch of years ago, I wasn't excited for that at all. And then it was like the day of, and I was like, you know what? I can't not watch this. So, and it was very super nostalgic, and I had fun. What's that?
COVID. We had no entertainment. We were getting no fights. We were getting no sports.
Yeah, but honestly, the way I felt after the fight, I was like, man, that was cool. That was fun. That was nostalgic. And it made me like go and like watch Roy Jones highlights for the next couple hours and watch Mike Tyson knockout highlights. And I left that feeling good. Whereas the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson thing, I left feeling like, ugh, I was used. It was used and abused. And I feel like this is going to be like that as well. And I think a lot of people have that fatigue for the exhibitions. I don't think people are fatigued with Mike fighting. I don't know.
That's another thing.
It's scary, dude. Like he didn't look good in the Jake Paul fight. Like he I don't know.
Is he potentially like wearing out his welcome? Like I don't think he cares because I think he's Teflon. Obviously, the guy went to prison for the most heinous thing you can possibly do. He was a horrible human for a large part of his career, but now he's beloved. And the Tyson Jones thing, when he dropped that highlights, remember when him sparring during COVID broke the internet?
No, he was hitting pads. He was ripping through pads. It looked awesome.
Broke the internet. We were just looking for anything at that point online in those days, 2020, and that it became like a cool thing. Like, oh my God, Tyson, he's scary, he's scary. Fights Jones, like you said, I think that was regarded as a pretty fun night of entertainment. The Paul thing looked. I think Paul took a lot of the brunt of it, where it takes two to tango. You know, like no one was criticizing Tyson for being a part of that fight if you didn't enjoy it. So I feel like we're getting a little bit of Mike fatigue. I feel like, all right, Mike, you barely even threw any punches against Jake. So what are you going to do with Floyd? As for Floyd, I mean, this is what he is. Like he's an entertainer. He's already counting money last night. I think everyone has fully understood what he's about, and he's been doing these exhibitions for years now. Logan Paul, Deji, who I don't know if I pronounced it right, or KSI's brother. Like he's been doing tons of Japanese dude, kickboxer. So that makes he's on the exhibition tour for sure. Like that's just what he should do when you're of his ilk. Yeah, and the details are a little murky. CSI Sports Fight Sports will deliver a mega event globally on a date from a location to be determined. Brothers Richard and Craig Meal will produce a multi-platform global broadcast befitting the legendary fighters of this historic event. John Skipper, formerly of ESPN, president DAZN Meadowlark, is part of it. Mark Taffet, who was a big part of HBO pay-per-view back in the day. Brian Robertson of American Idol Productions. And Chris de Blasio, PR man to the stars, formerly of Showtime. Yeah, so this is kind of big news. It broke last night. It was everywhere. Everyone picked it up. Dave Portnoy, El Prez, with a huge reach, quote tweets it, says, "Boxing's dead." So that's great.
Yeah, but I think I've talked about war. You're welcome. Does anybody care about he says anymore? He's pretty he's turned a corner pretty badly lately. People I don't know how much that.
Well,
really
you know what I
matters.
mean. He represents
a big
mainstream
reach, but
sports guy. He represents mainstream sport. That's what this is. It's the mainstream sports fans see a Jake Paul tank, see a Jake Paul Tyson, see a Tyson Mayweather, and they think that this is where the sport is at right now. Partially, yes, this is where the sport is right now.
I mean, I don't disagree with that.
Right. What they don't see is the big fights. What they don't see is some of the fights that are being made around the clock. What they don't see is unification fights. Canelo-Crawford, now I think we need it more than ever. You know, Haney versus Norman. Benavidez getting back in the Shakur and Teofimo, which we'll talk about in a second. Like, there is still fights being made. Like, the health of the sport isn't great, especially American boxing, but it's just kind of like how the overall sports fan or just person looks at boxing when they see Tyson, Paul, two guys, one guy close to 60, one guy close to 50.
The problem is, I mean, we're just lacking stars. There's plenty of good fighters. There's plenty of good fights being made, but there's not that crossover star, or not many of them that are still active. And a lot of them that are active are older. You know, even Crawford, he's not a crossover star. Like he's gotten to that point that he's, you know, now he's internationally known. And it came late in his career, but he's 38 and he's halfway out the door. Canelo, how much does he really have left? He's another one who, by the way he's been moving, he's losing hardcores. And, the people that are his fans are going to be his fans no matter what, those other guys. But I don't think he's gaining new followers anymore, new fans. We don't have those breakout stars. Teofimo Lopez is trying to be that guy, but the guy doesn't fight often enough. Shakur Stevenson trying to be that guy, but nobody wants to fight him, so he doesn't get fights. Tank Davis doesn't look like he wants to fight or be that guy anyway. I don't think he ever cared about being a true star.
Ryan Garcia
cared about getting paid. Ryan Garcia's, his whole trajectory has been very odd, especially recently. Yeah, and it's just the real stars. One, you got to have the basics and the fundamentals. That's why Ryan Garcia is not it. Like, you got to take a guy like an Oscar De La Hoya, Sugar Ray Leonard, these guys with these massive amateur backgrounds who are gold medalists who come into the sport, and they've done everything right up until that point, and they're disciplined and they're trained and they're fundamental, and then they have their star power on top of all of that. And we just don't have those guys anymore. And part of it, I think, I blame the amateur program in this country. We're not developing these guys over time to get to that point and have all the skills they need to deal with the star power, as well as being dealt with in terms of traveling and getting attention when you're in your teens, winning medals and being out there and being international and getting experience with all these different kinds of guys. We're not seeing that, especially in the States. So, you've got these Eastern Bloc guys who are coming to the country. You can't make stars out of those guys. Yeah, they're going to whip your ass. Yeah, they're going to beat everybody up. But they're not going like it's kind of like UFC with the Dagestan countries. Yeah. They're coming in whipping everybody's ass. They're dominating every division. But like, their style's not great, and they barely speak English, and they don't care about being stars at all. They just want to whip your ass. So yeah, I think we're in a tough spot in general in fight sports because of that, just lacking star power.
Yeah, and you bring up a really good point here with Teofimo Lopez, and that's what I want to talk about next. Teofimo versus Shakur, those talks are intensifying, according to some reports from Boxing Scene. Shakur Stevenson has accepted the fight verbally. Teofimo has accepted the fight Twitterly. Is that a word? Twitter on the Twitter world?
X via X.
Via X. I don't know if he's actually signed on the dotted line, but it looks like it's trending in the right direction. It's a fight that I think is very important now more than ever in terms of two names getting into the ring, in terms of two young stars, undefeated, multi-division champions, all of that. Now more than ever, we need that. Hope it happens in the state. Hope it happens, number one, because it's not signed. Hope it happens in the States in that order, because we're seeing a lot of fights head over to Saudi, but they're still getting made. It's an important fight because we need to see these two step into the ring.
It's an important fight for a lot of reasons, and more so even than the fact that it's who they are, and they're technically like budding stars, and I think the winner here has an opportunity to step into that limelight if the fight is made. But also, I think it's a trend. It's bucking the old trend that guys don't fight until they're older and well paid enough to make them. We've got young guys who are stepping in the ring and putting their records on the line, putting their names on the line, the way they did in the 80s, the way that we saw early on, when you saw like the Four Kings where they all fought each other early on. You saw Benitez and Leonard getting it on in their early 20s. Like, we're not getting that anymore. But these guys are possibly willing to do that, and if they do step in the ring, I think that's a good trending in the right direction, and that more and more you're seeing guys taking these chances earlier on. But does the fight actually happen? That's really I'm very skeptical.
You have every reason to be skeptical because of Teofimo Lopez's track record. He declined fight with Devin Haney. He's declined the fight with Boots, or I don't know exactly what happened there, but a lot of fights have fallen through. Turkey, from what I've heard, is pretty upset.
I think actually Boots declined the fight with Teo. Actually,
right. I get so once these negotiations break down, I move on so fast. But main point is Teofimo has had big fights slip away. The Haney one was the one that got him into some hot water with Turkey and Saudi, and he reneged on that deal. And now we get to I hope it gets made. Like, it's an important fight. We need it. Now we get into, will it be a good fight? And I cause a little bit of a stir on the old Twitter machine.
Oh, Dan.
Here we go. It's not about me, guys. But for this portion, something I do want to discuss. I said that I don't exactly love the fight in terms of X's and O's. I just don't love it. And do I have to love every single fight? According to some people, no. Yes. According to some people, I have to promote every fight because I have a big platform and I should lie to the fans and tell you this is going to be a banger because we need it. It's two young fighters. It's the four kings, blah, 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 finally facing off with each other. No, that's not my job to do that. Like, I would be doing a disservice if I told you that every fight was going to be a banger and every fight was going to be great. It is meaningful. When they step into the ring, will it be exciting? I don't necessarily think so, and I can't wait to get your thoughts on it. I want to tell you why I don't think it's going to be the most exciting fight. Shakur Stevenson retweeted it with my tweet where I said it has the potential to be a snoozer. And he said, bro, it's going to be a technical fight. He also said that I don't love boxing, but he said it's going to be a tactical chess match. I don't take it personally because he's also retweeted me when I've said good things about him, like when he beat Zepeda, and I gave him his props. He just is always searching his name on Twitter, blah, blah, blah. Last 5 fights, Teofimo, 48 punches thrown around, 2 jabs landed per round. Last 5 fights for Shakur, 36 punches thrown around. These are 2 back foot counter puncher fighters. Who's going to make the fight here? Probably Teofimo, who is probably more comfortable as a counter puncher. Shakur doesn't really take steps forward. The fight with Zepeda was thrilling because Zepeda came forward and threw 80 punches around. Teofimo's not going to throw 80 punches around. Will it be tactical? Yes. Will it be super exciting? No. Do we have to see it? Yes.
Okay, my turn, my take?
Yes, please, go.
I love this fight. I think it's going to be – I love this fight. Listen, guys, I know everyone coming down on Dan. It's his opinion. This is an opinion-based show. It's our opinions. Yes, we're experts. Yes, we live in this game. But listen, everyone has their own opinions and go different ways. My opinion is I love this fight. I love tactical fights. I want to see guys like this match their wits, boxing IQ versus boxing IQ. I love the dynamic athleticism of Teofimo Lopez. I think it makes him so fun to watch. When he combines it with his boxing technical skill, it really is a thing of beauty. And then when you got a guy like Shakur, when you really understand the nuances of the sport and you can see his range manipulation, his distance control, and his ability to completely disarm aggressive offensive fighters, it's again another thing of beauty. I think it's going to be 2 beautiful styles mixing. Now, is it going to make for a thrilling, entertaining, excitement-filled, power-punching type fight? I don't think so, but I think it's going to be an edge-of-your-seat kind of fight for real boxing heads who are going to be like, ooh, where you're watching even like footsteps and feints and being like, ooh. I watch a good feint and I'm like, you might as well crack them in the face because I'm thinking like, ooh, all right, setting that up. I see what he's doing here. You're starting to see those little X's. Like when you said X's and O's, I was like, I actually think X's and O's wise, I really like this fight. In terms of, CompuBox numbers, probably not. Like you just said, those numbers is not going to be a high output fight. It's not going to be a high contact fight. But I think it's going to be a super highbrow boxing IQ fight. But they're also young. So there's the idea there's going to be some a dynamic aggression and there's going to be opportunities for these guys to put on and make it thrilling at times. But I do believe it's going to be an on the edge of your seat. The difference could be 1 punch in a round. And those kind of fights, and it's going to be super back and forth and competitive. For me, I like those fights. I like them. I don't want every fight to be like that. But when they come around at the highest level, I'm all in.
I don't disagree. I love those fights too because I had people chirping me, what do you want, rock'em sock'em robots? Boxing guy hates boxing, doesn't like tactical fights. I love tactical fights. But in terms of
Bivol Beterbiev was super tactical and it was it wasn't a high output fight at all.
But Chris, this is going to be marketed as a mega fight. These are 2 big names. Yeah. And how many times have we seen 2 big names put into a ring and the fight just doesn't live up to it? Like it was almost like just an observation of how I think the actual fight will go. Like it has the potential to be a snoozer. It could. It's not going
to get new fans. I'll put it that way. It's not going to be one of those fights where you're calling people up and being like, "Yo, Gotti Ward is on ESPN. You got to turn this on." It's not that kind of fight.
Right.
It's probably not going to get new fans to the sport, but it's going to combine audiences because you're going to have Teofimos and Shakur Stevensons. I think this is one of those fights that has to happen, and then for the winner to take that next step. And I think it's just part of the process. I don't think this is the end all be all for either guy.
And I did say I would rather see, there's other matchups I'd rather see Teofimo at and Shakur. Like they're not even in the same weight class. At 35, I want to see Teofimo. At 35, I want to see Stevenson fight Matthias. I want to see Stevenson. He's at 140. Sorry.
Yeah.
At 35, I want to see Stevenson fight Lamont Roach. I want to see him fight Murataya. I want to see him fight some of the other guys at 135. Teofimo, I want to see him fight Matias. Say that again.
Abdullah Mason, another guy at 35.
Exactly.
I think that's an awesome fight.
At 140, I want to see Teo fight Matias, who's going to come forward. I want to see Matias fight Gary Russell, who is dynamic. Oof. Are those mega fights? Are those fights that are between two of the 4 or 5 young kings, or whatever you want to call them? No, they're better stylistic fights. Another, what I've kickback I've heard is like, damn, we have to see these big guys, these names fight. We have to see this going to help grow the sport. But just like you said, it really isn't, because it's not going to be like an absolute thriller of a fight. And we're living in a world where we're getting the biggest fights now. We have an ATM out in Saudi Arabia that is dishing out money to make these fights. So, like, I wanted to see Teo fight Haney, even though I think that's not going to be a great fight either. I want to see Shakur fight Tank. And, those are possible logistically, and those are possible ideally if Tank didn't want to go the exhibition route. One last thing, too, here is Tank, Shakur, Teofimo, Haney. They all somewhat fight the same. They're all back foot counter punchers, low 40s. I think Teofimo might be the anomaly here to a certain degree, but none of those guys are like come forward type of fighters. So a Shakur and a Tank, that was not going to be an exciting fight. That was going to be low output, really tactical, to the point where it's going to be built up huge, and there's going to be some people tuning in going, this is the fight we had to see, but still think we have to see it. All these guys fight the same. Like these young guys that are now gearing towards 30, they're not going to make bangers, but we still need to see them. I just want to be clear about that.
Yeah, I mean, well, that style, it's a style that works. You got sharp counter punchers. You don't have to throw a million punches around. It's hit and don't be hit. That's the generation that we live in. And I was talking about this recently. What happens is you get a star, and that star style bleeds into the next generation. Ali bled into the 80s, and you saw guys that were getting that movement and that bounce. You had Sugar Ray Leonard, who came from that style as well as a boxer and a mover, but he had power and he could punch and he was a good finisher. He takes us into the 90s. Oscar De La Hoya, similar style, athletic style, Olympic amateur style, had power, went for kills. Roy Jones Jr. was just an anomaly. He was just so dynamic, and you can't that style couldn't go into the next generation because no one can do it. Then you got Floyd, and then Floyd was a star for a long time, and his style is bleeding into these guys. Hit and don't be hit. High boxing IQ. You don't get paid to get hit. You get paid to hit and don't be hit. It's the sweet science at its best, and that's the style that we're in right now. And it's tough for the newer fans because boxing is so complicated and so nuanced. And if you don't know everything that's going on and what that guy's doing, when you watch Bernard Hopkins at the end of his career, if you don't really know boxing, you're like, what is this? There's not a lot going on. But if you watch his feet and you watch his feints and you watch what he's doing with his hands and his gloves and his elbows and his movements, and you really understand the sport, you understand what he's doing there, and it is still entertaining. So I think we're seeing a higher brow in terms of style. And it's tough because you have to be an educated fan in order to really enjoy this.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like the biggest stars under 30, like this 4 Kings plus Shakur, they just all happen to have a very similar style. Like they're like back in the day, like Sugar Ray Leonard and Duran meshed perfectly. Hagler and Hearns meshed really well. It's like I do think we need to see the fights.
Contrasting styles, yeah.
Contrasting styles. Styles make fights. Number one of the top 3 sayings in boxing, besides protect yourselves at all times. Styles make fights. And, for some reason, I just don't exactly see it being a banger. Just wanted to express my opinion. Andre Ward chirped me. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
I fired back, bro.
Yes. The counter. I like it.
He quote tweeted, and it was like a gif of a former NBA head coach, Mike Woodson, and it was a gif, and it said, "Really, bro?" For my take. So I replied, "That's the same face I have when you make your annual comeback video for attention."
Oh, wow. That's you shot one across the brow there. Wow. Yeah. Going at an old-timer. A lot
of people thanked me for that because Andre Ward does the same thing every year. He flirts with a comeback, This time, he actually put out a video saying that he would fight Anthony Joshua. Usually, it's a reporter or someone asks him, will you ever come back? And he flirts with it. And then all the reporters with their cell phones, when they see him at fights, ask him about the comeback. And he gets mad and tries to play it down. Rinse, repeat. He does it. He's done it the last 5 years. I don't blame him because he retired early and he missed out on the Canelo bag. He missed out on the Golovkin bag. That was his choice to retire at age 32. But he's 41 now, and he's calling for a fight with Joshua.
Yeah, a lot of those guys, Tim Bradley, Sean Porter, they all retired young. They retired in their early 30s, which was smart because you're not as good in your mid-30s as you are when you get older. It takes a very special fighter to still be competitive as you get older. But, yeah, I mean, but also the Saudi money. You're seeing everyone is chirping and talking about coming back. Everyone but me. Everyone sees me. They see me working out. They see I'm in shape. They're like, oh, dude, when are you getting back in? You getting ready for a fight? I'm like, no. Hell no. They're like, oh, there's so much money. I mean, you go fight this guy, this guy. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good.
Well, you're posting these workout videos.
Yeah, but I mean, I never stopped working out, and that's nothing new. I've always posted videos anyway. But I mean,
Misfits coming your way?
No, dude, none of that.
Darren Till.
I have so many jobs. I'm doing just fine. I'm doing just fine out here.
Those, Ward made good money, but it's just like he didn't make that like generational. It's not
always
bag.
the money, dude. It's attention too. Like we're all entertainers. Like we're fighters. We're gladiators, and gladiators fight for the crowd. And that feeling that you get when the dust settles is like nothing else. And you're always chasing that dragon. It's like, bro, it's the strongest drug in the world. And it's once you've had that taste, once you've been to the top, there's nothing in life that is like that. You know,
it's like when I retired from my baseball career at the height of my
smash ball or smash.
No, like real baseball.
Oh,
Suffolk
real baseball.
Community College. I played in the Junior College World Series. Don't laugh, bro. Junior College World Series 2007 in Tyler, Texas. I went out on top, and I said I'm going to retire on top, but I was happy. I was fulfilled. Like, I think
spent
Andre's
10 years in deep depression after that, right? I mean, you were hitting the bottle. It was a tough time.
Now I play blitzball for keeps.
Blitzball, that's it. For keeps.
I like Andre Ward. I'd like Andre Ward. When I see him in person, we'll have a laugh. I don't know if he even saw the tweet because he didn't. I was waiting for a counter to the counter. I hope we get Shakur and Teofimo. I really do hope we get it. If it ends up being a snoozer, I don't want to tell you I told you so. If it ends up being a banger, I will gladly eat my words, and it would be great for the sport. So I hope that happens. Teofimo, I think, is the driving force here in making this fight happen. Shakur will fight anyone. I love Shakur Stevenson. This guy will fight anyone. We're seeing exhibitions being made. We're seeing all this stuff in boxing, and Shakur is a real throwback. I just want to be great. I want to collect belts. I want to fight the best. So props to Shakur Stevenson. Great fighter and breath of fresh air. What else we got on the docket here? Jaime Munguia cleared of a PED failed test citing contamination. A lot of people tweeted me. They wanted to get your thoughts on this as the resident PED expert, Chris Algieri. Despite his A and B samples coming back for it's exogenous testosterone, right?
Exogenous, yeah.
Yes. Remember last time I said exogenous?
Yes, that was pretty funny. I wish you did that again because that was entertaining. But yeah, exogenous coming from the outside. Yeah.
I wanted to before we recorded. I was going to just double check that it was exogenous, not exogenous. Exogenous testosterone. Munguia will not face a punishment. UCAD and the British board came down and said he's clear. The positive result was a false positive caused by accidental contamination with pregnenolone. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Interesting nugget here, Chris. Munguia thanked the WBC. I want to thank the WBC for reviewing the complete scientific evidence and confirming there'll be no investigation, charge, or sanction. So he is free to fight. Contamination, despite testosterone in his system, despite A and B samples failing. Like, we just sweep this under the rug? Are we just boxing as usual? Is this politics? Is this WBC? What's going on?
All of the above, Dan. This is boxing as usual. This is politics. This is who you know, how, and what do you spend to get where you're at. But listen, could it be this? It sure, absolutely, it could be. But when you have so many guys getting accidental contamination coming from the same gym, the same place in very short period of time. It just raises too many red flags. When there's so many red flags, it's just like there's so many red flags that boxing is just like blind to red flags. You know, it's like that girl who always goes for the same guy and the guy's terrible. It's like that she's stuck on that. We're like that with boxing. Yeah, you get tired of it and you just deal with it and it just is what it is. But this is just boxing, man. This is the way it is. But when it comes to, I hate when they say this. They're like, oh, it was so little amount in their system by the time they fought there couldn't be an effect. That's not the way drugs work, guys. It's not just when it's in your body, it does an effect. It's the training effect. If I train for 3 months with elevated levels of exogenous testosterone, I'm going to recover faster. I'm going to build muscle faster. I'm going to get leaner faster. I'm going to be able to train more often. So you're compounding how much work you can do in a period of time. If in 3 months I can train 2 days in a row and then I have to take half a day off and then 2 days in a row and then take a full day off. If I can train 7 days in a row, 21 days in a row, 30 days in a row, when you're on drugs, you can do that. You're going to get better. There's going to be a training effect. Your fitness levels, your endurance levels, your explosiveness levels are going to be higher because you've trained your body in a super metabolic fashion, a superhuman fashion, really. And then you clear the stuff out of your system, but the training effect is still there. You just spent 3 months training like Superman, and now you're going to fight. You're going to be in better shape than you would have been if you weren't using those exogenous pets. So I hate when people say, like, oh, well, there was so little on my system at the time of the fight. That's not the way the drugs work. It's not like it's not an adrenaline shot. Like you need it at the moment. It's not the way that works. It's for training. It's for recovery. It's for your body to build in the time off. That's why a lot of the guys, like true testing, you need to be testing all year. Because you can go in your off season and do all this extra work and go into camp like Superman, and then all you're working is technique because you're in condition, and then you're doing maintenance until fight night. Yeah. There's so many. It's so complicated, and they try to simplify it, and it's just not possible to do that. Drugs are extremely, extremely complicated. Peds are extremely complicated when it comes to sports, nutrition, sports and fitness performance. So, but the public doesn't know enough to know that they don't know enough, and this is when you get people just saying whatever. But in terms of Munguia, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, he's back. He's an exciting fighter. I'm a fan of his. And this is going to be a slap on the wrist. He didn't really lose any time and money, right? I'm sure he spent money on legal fees and stuff like that. But otherwise, he's going to move forward.
Did he spend time on legal fees? Because he failed the VADA test.
Maybe the WBC did.
Yeah. Munguia's promoters and the WBC seem to have arranged the WADA-accredited lab to retest the samples and
that
came
costs
to the
money.
conclusion.
That's expensive.
Yeah, but I don't know who funded it. It was just weird to see Suleiman, WBC, put out the statement, and it was almost like he was representing Munguia when he came out and said it. And the BBOC, and UCAD came down hard on Conor Benn, and that was fight week. There was a lot more eyeballs. It was a huge fight with Eubank, and
that fell through.
Right. So they had to show that, they had to show that we have some teeth, and we have to, put out the allure that the illusion, I should say, that we are a real organization here. Now with this, I don't know exactly what they're doing with Munguia. It is just a slap on the wrist. The story has come and gone. Boxing, it's up to boxing fans now to kind of look at Munguia. Is he a clean fighter? Is this an asterisk? How will he fare going forward? Bruno Saras gets nothing out of this. He's not going to get a third fight. I mean, he's the real victim here because he's not going to get anything out of this. And Munguia is going to move on because he's got WBC behind him. He's part of Canelo's team. He's in a really fun division. I don't know, man. It's just another stinky part of the sport, and you made really good points there too with the effects of PEDs. Like we just think fight night. Oh my God, he's on juice fight night, and look at him, he's a monster on fight night. Throws 80 punches around only when under the bright lights. How do you get to the bright lights? How do you get through injuries? That's the big thing with PEDs, especially in baseball. It keeps you on the field. Like you still have to be able to hit the ball. Like Barry Bonds was best hitter even before he did PEDs. And
it's a skill sport. A lot of these, just like boxing is a skill sport, but it's fought at a very high, it's competed at a very high metabolic rate.
But not only that, because it keeps you healthy. It keeps you going. Like 162 games in 180 days, when you're on PEDs and also amphetamines, which they banned, you are staying alert, and also you're
focused and vigilant. You're hyper focused, alert, reactive. It
bounce back faster with the PEDs.
Yeah. Well, listen, if I used PEDs, I would have got a couple more years out of my career, because injuries are what kept me out. You're absolutely right. If I had some HGH and some extra testosterone, 100%, my body would have kept up. I would have healed faster. I wouldn't have got injured as often, and I would have fought for another couple of years and made a lot of money. And I understand that's how a lot of guys do it. Like, that's when the peds, they start getting older. They want to feel younger. They need in order to keep up with the training. You need the drugs. That was my problem. I couldn't keep up with the training anymore. I couldn't get into the shape I needed to in order to compete at the highest level. And if I can't do that, I'm not going to fight. It's too dangerous. So they really do come in handy.
Well, everyone thinks that you did PEDs because for how much you know about them.
Yeah, well, I have a master's degree in nutrition, guys. I studied sports nutrition and sports performance for a decade and a half.
Another reason I'm fighting your battles on Twitter, because I'll post this clip later, and they'll be like, "How does he know so much about PEDs?" ? He's never did them, and I'm not here. He studies them, and I have to.
You guys know I'm a professor too, right? Like I'm literally a professor. Like, I teach classes on sports nutrition.
Yes, Renaissance man. Yes, so that's that. Moving on here, quick hitters. Joseph Parker, rumored to be fighting Fabio Wardley next at heavyweight. He won't be fighting Usyk. Usyk is out there dancing on videos, getting in trouble. Did you see that?
Yeah. He's going to be out for a while because of his back injury, and then he's like cutting a rug, having a grand old time.
Usyk claims he has a back injury. Video surfaces of him doing his really entertaining dances. WBO sees this and go, wait a second, you just told you have a back injury and you can't fight Joseph Parker. You asked for an extension. You're out here dancing.
It's AI, bro. It's AI, bro. It's AI. Wasn't me.
Back looks fine. I actually love the WBO. They're emerging as my favorite organization.
Where my title's from, bro.
Gustavo Oliveira, listener of the podcast. They actually have rules, and they actually imply them.
And they adhere to them. Amazing.
I like him, and I like this. I don't like that Usyk's not fighting Parker. I do like Parker Wardley. I think that's a nice piece of matchmaking. I think Parker should win that. Getting Wardley at the right time. I feel bad
for Parker, man. I said this a while ago. He's going to be the guy who's never going to get the shot, and he's just got to fight young stud after young stud, dangerous fight after dangerous fight, and eventually he's going to get knocked off, and he's never going to get that second title shot. It's such a shame. I see it coming a mile away, because Parker's a tough out, even for the best guys in the world. He's really good, but you can't just keep fighting these young studs and expect to beat everyone to get to that chance. I feel bad for Parker.
Yes,
I do. Getting paid.
Yes, I feel bad for him with an asterisk. He's getting paid. He's not sitting on his hands. He's fighting Bacoli. He's fighting Zhang. He's fighting Wilder. Now he's taking on Wardley. He should win that. Wardley did knock out Justice Hooney in a highlight reel knockout, but he was down big on the cards. Kind of a one-trick pony. Wardley, I think Parker should be able to beat him, but this is boxing. Wardley can stop.
It's heavyweight boxing too. It's a heavyweight boxing.
Exactly. And Parker could lose. And there goes his status with Usyk. And Usyk seems to be he has every right to do all this. He seems to be looking for different type of fights. Like, he brought up Fury's name after the Dubois win again. No one wants to see that fight again. He did a face-off with Jake Paul, and it was like, yeah, I'll fight Jake Paul. Yeah, I'll fight him in MMA. Maybe the Atuma fight comes because there's a lot of money in that one. There's not a lot of money in the Usyk-Parker fight. Riyadh season has come out and put out an announcement that they are not interested in making that fight. So financially, it's not the biggest fight. But in terms of meritocracy, yes. I mean, there's not a more deserving guy out there right now than Joseph Parker. It's consensus amongst boxing fans, which is impossible to do, is get boxing fans all on the same page. But if you polled 10 boxing fans, 9 of them, maybe even 10, would come back and say Parker should be fighting Usyk next. So I don't know. Do we ever get that fight? Are we throwing shade at Usyk? He's been Teflon in terms of criticism, but the dancing and him not fighting Parker, I'm kind of looking at Usyk kind of sideways for the first time in a long time.
First time ever. Not a great look, but like you said, he kind of got to give him a pass a little bit. He has been the guy, and he's in a tough spot because if the money's not there for the Parker fight, when Riyadh goes, we're not interested in that fight. Okay, that's off the docket then, because it's a tough fight, and I can make more money with someone else. That's probably going to be an easier fight. Then what do you expect? I mean, I'm not super surprised. I don't think we get that fight. I think. Obviously it looks like Usyk's looking in different directions. Again, feel bad for Parker, but again, he's staying busy. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. He's fighting whoever is there to get to the shot, but he's already been a world champion. He's making money. I know he wants to be champion again, but I don't know if we ever get to see him and Usyk, unfortunately.
It's a little bit of a reality check and a little kind of scary. If Riyadh and Saudi are interested in a fight, you kind of go back to where we were 5 years ago, where these negotiations were drawn out for months, years on end because of the finances, because there isn't someone overpaying for them. So a Parker-Usyk fight probably doesn't happen. With Riyadh, it does happen. So that is a little bit of a reality check. I know things right now are pretty good in terms of fights being made. It's out there, though. That it's looming if Saudi and their commitment to boxing, it just shows that it's still out there. And see what's next for Usyk. Moving on, Keith Thurman, Sebastian Fundora met face-to-face. Fundora just going to keep the tall jokes are never going to stop with Fundora. I actually feel bad for him. Got up on a chair, Thurman. I actually did this too. Thurman got on a chair to do the face-to-face. They announced their fight October 25th, streaming live on ppv.com. Stephen Fulton versus Shaki Foster. Loved that fight. Jesus Ramos Jr. in a middleweight fight with Shane Mosley Jr., but all eyes will be on the main event. And Thurman was in rare form. I saw a video of him playing the flute. I saw a bunch of cringe and almost fell off the stage. He's going to sell the hell out of this fight. I actually like this fight. I actually think that Thurman has a decent chance to beat Fundora because the way that Fundora fights. Fundora will be the favorite, but Keith's crafty, man. I really like this fight.
I like this fight too. Keith can still punch. That's the last thing to go. And you said he's crafty, he's sneaky, and I think he understands what he has in front of him. He's not going to go punch for punch with Fundora. Fundora's too young, too fresh, throws a million punches. He's big, he's long, he's hard to deal with. But Keith is going to look to be deceptive and look to land one of those big shots. And listen, Fundora gets hit, and he gets hit clean. We even saw that in the Zoo fight. And I think punch for punch, single shots, Thurman hits harder than Zoo. Zoo is a break you down kind of guy. He's not a one-punch guy at all. And I think it's going to take a one-punch guy for Fundora because you can't match him for output. Like we saw this with Hammer, Erickson Lubin. He tried to keep up with Fundora, and he actually hurt Fundora. He put him down, was doing well in the fight, but he just couldn't keep up with the output, couldn't keep up with the damage. And I don't think anyone in the division really can. You're just going to have to find him, clip him, and put him away. And Keith could do that. So I'm with you, Dan. I actually like this fight.
It's funny you bring up the one-punch power because one of the coolest parts of my job when I do the PBC stuff and PBV is I do the DraftKings segment, and they will bring up fighters to do little quick segments with Custer and Joe Goosen. And in Fundora Zoo, Keith Thurman came up to the stage, and I actually watched Fundora Zoo 2 with Thurman, and he's sitting there scouting, and I'm watching his brain churning, and I'm like, yo, what are you thinking, bro? Because you got quiet, and you're not a quiet guy. And he says, if I ever fight Fundora, it will be the first time in my career where I will actually load up on shots. I will load up on power and throw one punch at a time. And I thought that was one of the coolest things, just to be there in that moment. And that kind of is his game plan. And he brought up punch for punch power. Yeah, Fundora's an accumulation type of guy. He'll break you down systematically. We've seen him do that numerous times. With Thurman, he's got big power at 47. He's shown flashes of it at 54, albeit one fight. But, man, he could still land that hammer, and Fundora is very susceptible. I think it'll be fun. Is it Fundora versus any of the other young champs just yet? No. It would be wild to see Thurman get his hand raised or like a spectacular knockout, and all of a sudden Keith Thurman is a champ.
A major player at 54. That'd be awesome.
Well, the content's going to be great. I mean, Thurman's liable to say or do anything. I mean, it was WWE vibes up there.
He is a super entertaining guy, and he understands the role too. Like he knows that boxing is lacking that kind of character. So he brings it, and he doesn't care about what you think about it, but he's gonna just keep putting it out there. It's super entertaining. So, it's I don't know. I'm all for this fight. I think Fundora is a fun fighter to watch. He's not a super fun guy in terms of interviews and content leading up to it, but that's Keith's job.
He's getting better,
but also he's getting better. He's definitely maturing into the role of being a champion. But I think in terms of style matchups, it's actually a really good fight too.
Fundora, when I did a little thing with him, and I was like, "Hey, what did you buy with your first check?" And he's like, "Nothing." And I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Not like." He's like, "Land." I was like, oh, "Okay, that's cool," but like no flashy things. He's like, "My friend gave me a Rolex." And that like had like 500,000 views. So like,
and the way he said it, that was funny.
Exactly. He doesn't really like try. He doesn't try to be funny or try to be. He's very authentic. He doesn't really have any designs on being a massive star. He's not going to come out talking trash, but he is building his name and he's building his brand. And I wish it was more than just tall guy. Like he's got to get tired of that. I mean, because everything I see is just like, look at this freak. And it's
I don't think he's tired of it because he's dealt with it his whole life. No, he's dealt with that his entire life. That is who he is. When you're 6'6" and you're a Mexican from the West Coast, no one's not gonna say something or notice or whatever. But like that is kind of his thing. But he, I mean, he's like you said, he's a super genuine guy, and him and his family they kind of train in like seclusion and stick to their own. They're a throwback. They're a different breed. That group of that family. It's refreshing though because it's different.
He's got the really cool setup in his backyard. His dad built little huts for the sparring partners to live in. There's a ring.
Yeah,
it's in the Coachella Valley. It's all really cool. Yeah, his sister is probably the heir to the pound for pound throne in women's boxing. I think Caroline Dubois. And Fundora is building his case as a really exciting fighter. All right, we're gonna say goodbye quickly. Oscar Valdez returns in the ring this weekend. He's fighting Richard Medina. I don't know how much he has left at age 34, but he is a warrior nonetheless, and I'll keep my eyes on that. You have anything on that?
I mean, he's always entertaining. I like Oscar. He's a really, really great guy. Good commentator too when he fills in for Top Rank. So I think he's got a career post boxing, but he's still got some fight left in him apparently. But listen, I'll watch. He's entertaining as hell.
Aslis Iglesias picked up a big win last night over Vladimir Shishkin. Stopped him. IBF title eliminator at 168. I mean, Iglesias is the dark horse at 168. He's now the mandatory for Canelo Alvarez at 168. Iglesias, really good fighter.
He's a bad boy because Shishkin, he trains out in Florida, and he's good. He's tough, and for him to stop him, but at this stage of his early career, very impressive.
We are less than 10 days away from Inoue MJ Akhmadaliev, which is getting completely swallowed up.
Crept up.
Getting swallowed up by Canelo-Crawford. Also, no network. Doesn't have a platform right now in the U.S.
In 10 days? Yikes.
Because Top Rank and ESPN have severed ties. Will DAZN step in?
That's not good, bro. That's a good fight, though. That's a really good fight.
Should we put it on Inside Boxing Live YouTube?
Yeah, dude. Throw our hat in the mix for the bid. We'll bid.
$500.
500 bucks. I mean, we can do a little more than that. I can dig into my savings.
Yes, please dig into the funds. You're the champ.
We can throw in some proper bid.
Hopefully we get a provider because I really want to see this fight, and I think it's a good fight. Akhmadaliev has power. Inoue has been susceptible. Inoue is saying that I'm not going to go for knockouts anymore, which I want to see if that's actually true.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
He said, I mean, that was an interesting quote from him. He said, I have to focus on just getting the win rather than going for the knockout, which, that's why he's finds himself in these battles, just because he's standing and trading and putting himself out there to get hit. So,
but even when you watch him, you can't he can't help himself. When he went down against Cardenas, I was like, oh my God. I'm like, be careful. Nope. Right in it. Right in the mix. Right back to it.
Yeah. So we'll keep. Hopefully, there's news about that over the weekend because we're getting dangerously close to a deadline. For we're gonna have to watch it on some type of like crack stream or something. Go back to like 10 years ago, corrupt our phones and computers. That's it, everybody. Hope you enjoy your weekend. We're back on next week with the voicemail episode. Leave us a voicemail right now, 631-403-0859 with your Canelo-Crawford pick. If you're picking Crawford, I want to hear from you guys because we're getting a lot of Canelo picks. I want to hear the Crawford backers out there. Put your name and money where your mouth is and call us up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you might look like a hero after fight night. Might look like a hero if you call out saying Crawford's going to win. Just saying.
If we get the right prediction, I will
take
put
the
you.
risk.
Yeah, if you predict the right thing, a Crawford like to win a split decision or something, like I'll repurpose that clip and put it out there on social and say you're a genius.
That's cool. That's cool. It's a nice little feather in the cap for someone out there, for one of our listeners.
And anyone in the New York area, we could potentially have some fight party news for Canelo Crawford. We're looking to finalize that in the next couple of days. All right, everyone. Protect yourselves at all times. Keep your hands up at all times. Stay out of those DMs. See you next time.
Fight party coming up.